Hello, rollercoaster gamers. It's Mr. No Ride here, and today I'm gonna do. It's kind of a theory, kind of not. It's basically a theory, but this video is gonna be about Amnesia the Dark Descent. And specifically, we're gonna be showing just how bad of a person Alexander is. Okay, we're gonna we're gonna talk about how evil Alexander is. Okay. He's the main antagonist in Amnesia the Dark Descent. He's the one that, if you've played Amnesia the Dark Descent or seen other people play, you should know who Alexander is. So, basically, Alexander is the one where it has caused all the troubles you've had. So, like, you know the story, Daniel found an orb in Algeria, then he got sent home, and then he found out that some of the people that he met with, like, died and stuff, so he wanted help and stuff because he thought something was following him and stuff. So Alexander offered help, and he went to Brennenburg Castle to meet Alexander, who he'd never met before. And Alexander said, "I can protect you from the shadow as long as you do this," and that was torturing people. Alexander said they were all criminals and they did horrible things when in reality they were just innocent people. But they kept torturing them and stuff. And Alexander was lying, saying it would help stop the shadow, and really it's just to collect Vitae so Alexander could go back to his homeworld. So Alexander is not from Earth. He is from this other world, and he's been cast away from it, and he's been like sent to Earth, and he's trying to go back, and he needs an orb, and he needs that Vitae. And since Daniel found an orb, he hasn't, because he tried to do the ritual with Agrippa's orb, but that failed. It broke, and that's why you have the pieces spread out, the choir and transept. And ever since he kept Agrippa. Literally, he put Agrippa's soul into this like body that can never die. So Agrippa is literally just stuck hanging on that thing where we meet him in the nave. He's stuck there like basically forever, unless someone frees him, which the way to free him is to cut off his head and put it into the portal before Alexander goes through. And I think that's the best ending, because you got the selfish ending, which is where Daniel knocks everything over, Alexander dies, Daniel escapes, but Agrippa's spirit is like not free yet. And then there's the one where you let Alexander go through and you die. And then there's the one where you put Agrippa's head in Alexander and you die, you and Alexander die, but it's like you go to this weird heaven world where like Agrippa like saves you instead of just dying or going to hell or whatever. Okay? Yada yada yada. So Alexander right there is really bad to Agrippa, like because Agrippa found an orb and Alexander made Agrippa come to his castle and took the orb to try to go back to his homeworld. He failed, so then he kept Agrippa trapped and he did for however long. And since Daniel finds an orb, that's why he tries to get Daniel in. And at the end, towards like after they're done with tortures and stuff, Alexander kind of reveals his plan. He locks himself up in the orb chamber in the inner sanctum, and then leaves Daniel to die from the shadow, and that's why Daniel wants revenge, since he just killed all these people for no reason. And yeah, so Alexander is very manipulative, and he's bad. He's bad towards Agrippa and everything. But that's not it. And also torturing people. That's Middle Age stuff. Like the upside down saw. Let me look at some pictures real quick. So, torture rooms. Okay, so like look at this. Look at this. This is pretty like that's bad. Like seriously, look at that. And look, there's a wheel thing where they had a big sledgehammer looking thing. Look at this. This is what they did to people here. Also the Brazen Bull, where's that at? Also an Iron Maiden. Look, that this isn't this is a picture from Amnesia the Dark Descent, but this is the kind of thing that had in it, where they would put the person inside and then they would light a fire underneath it and they would basically get roasted to death. It's horrible. Look, right there. And they also had this. It's all bad stuff. Okay? I don't know what that is. So, yeah. Okay? So, all not so good stuff. And I think torturing people like this, and not only did he just torture people, they were innocent people. They didn't even do anything, but to get Daniel to do it, he convinced him that they were bad, like murderers, criminals, or kidnappers, or whatever. And what he would do is that he would torture them, extract the variety, and if they die, they die. But if they don't die, then he heals them back up and gives them this thing called the amnesia drink, which is what Daniel takes to try to forget everything he's done with Alexander, because he doesn't want to remember killing all those people, and also the little girl he chased into the storage and killed. And Alexander, the purpose of that drink was to give these prisoners who survived the torture rooms, and so he could torture them again. He gives them amnesia, and then they forget about everything, and then he tells them that, oh, you've done another crime, you're about to get tortured, and stuff. See, and some people he can keep doing it over and over and over again, and it's horrible. It's really bad, okay? Like, Alexander is seriously a terrible person. So, another thing we're going to go into is the Gatherers, okay? And I'm actually probably going to try to get some audio clips here, because this is probably the biggest oof that he's done, to be honest with you. So, you've seen this. So, this is the Grunt, okay? This is the Brute, yada, 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 okay? So, if you've played Amnesia, like, when you see you've heard the backstory, right, I think that there's multiple theories and stuff, but I think the one that is makes the most sense, has the most evidence pointing to, is that these gatherers were Wilhelm and his men. Okay, Wilhelm and his men, like a long time ago, before Daniel was around. Okay, so Alexander has been living on this earth for years. They were brought to Brandenburg Castle to serve Alexander, and Alexander had them go Wilhelm and his other men go kidnap villagers from the town of Alstad and bring them back to the castle. And Wilhelm says in a note that he never knew what Alexander did with them, but he was just told to do that. He was forced to do that. So he kept doing that, and then after like a year or so of doing that, I can't remember what the time period is, but after a long time of doing that, Alexander was, because they were kind of making the sheriff of the town suspicious, and Alexander didn't want to be found out, and he didn't want an investigation of the castle or anything going on. So to try to hide it, all the evidence and everything, he basically I don't know if he was trying to kill Wilhelm and his men, but he basically gave them this wine, and it was like this substance in it caused them to like become deformed, like their bodies like changed, and they become like a lot of their like body parts fell, or they twisted up and stuff, and bones came through their skin and stuff. And then we assume that Alexander goes and stitches other things on him or puts metal stuff in him, creating the Grunt and the Brute, okay? That's how they were made. I think Wilhelm is the Brute and the other men are the Grunts, because there's only one Brute seen. There's only one Brute in the game, guys. There's only one Brute, okay? But there's multiple Grunts, because we can prove that because one of them is seen killed in the sewers, and we still see one later in the game. And when we go to the chancel, there's 3 that come at us at once. There's 3 that attack us at once. So, and you can also, like in the storage or in the prisons, you can make 1 spawn by going to a certain place and then going to another place to get another spawn. You can have 2 or 3 with you. So there are multiple grunts. There's not just one. With the brutes, there's only one. There's only one brute, okay? So I think that there's about 4 or 5 grunts because one of them is killed. Now, if you go to the refinery and you don't interact with that grunt, then you see bones on the ground. So we assume that the shadow killed him, maybe too. But I don't know about that. I think it seems to me like that one might be just an hallucination. But if you walk up to it, he actually attacks you. So that one's a bit weird. So it's about 4 or 5 grunts. So there's probably about 4 or 5 men that were with Wilhelm, and then Wilhelm is the brute, okay? But they're not just dead, okay? They have consciousness, okay? When you're playing the game, the grunt is especially evident for this because the brute, you can't really tell if he's really experienced much emotion because the sounds are too like distorted and stuff. So I'm gonna look up grunt noises. Okay, I'm gonna go to videos. Is this what I want to use? I'll use this. Okay, so where's these things experience emotions, guys? Okay. These things experience emotions. Listen to this. Listen to this noise the grunt makes. And it says whimper. That's a whining sound. So he's clear, and when he does that, makes that noise in the game, he does like covers his face and acts like he's crying. Okay? The grunt literally does that. So that's not giving me that. I guess I'm just going to stay on here. Because I'm not really at a point in the game where I can encounter a grunt. And I don't really feel like going back to that right now. So, unless you want me to play the game and I can, like, try to get a grunt to spawn. But, yeah. So, and when he does that, he covers his face and acts like he's crying. And when he notices you when you make a noise, you hear these noises, and you could almost make out words. Oh, I thought it was pause. You can almost make out words. Like you can hear, like, what? Who's there? Where are you at? And stuff like that. Listen. Did you hear what right there? It sounds like he's saying what? Listen. Right there, it sounded like he said, who's there? Did you hear that? What? Oh, that's just the enable spot. What? Who's there? What? Where are you at? Some of them are hard to make out, but some of those, like, you could clearly tell that some of them say, like, what? Where are you? And stuff like that. So he can hear it. He's like, it has consciousness. It has emotions. It's not like it's dead. Like, it feels emotion. So it's like, clearly they still remember. I don't know if they remember their past selves, but they still feel. They probably, but the reason why they're able to stay alive, because look, he has chunks taken out of his leg, and he has a big mouth. I don't think he's surviving that. And the brute has a split open head. He ain't surviving that unless there's something causing him to stay alive, which is Alexander. He can do magical stuff. He's from another world that has probably magical stuff. For instance, the freaking water monster. That thing is invisible. How can something be invisible on Earth? It's from another world, okay? And it could be the wine or something. And that's causing them to stay alive. But I don't know. But they're alive. They have consciousness. And look, the brute makes different the sounds. You can't really tell when you're listening to the brute, but they're labeled the same. Look, he has a whimpering type of sound. It doesn't sound like he's crying, but he is. Right there. Right there. See, they're not just zombies, okay? They're not just undead. They are alive, okay? They can think for themselves, okay? And they're not just killing the player just to kill him. They're not just killing us, Daniel, just to kill him. They're being forced to by Alexander. Alexander's trying to stop us from getting to him. So when we're in the prisons, you can hear Alexander yelling at his servants. Let me see if I can find that. Yelling.
Is he safe? Well, it's for his own good.
That's him talking to his servants. When he says, is he safe? Well, it's for his own good. That's him talking to one of the servants, because that's after one of the servants comes, which I think it's the grunts. The grunts are in the prisons. One of them comes and looks for us, but then when they despawn, you hear this voice from Alexander.
Is he safe? Well,
and listen to this
good.
other one.
Soon it will be ready. Let there be enough time.
He's talking to the servants.
He escaped? Where is he now?
He escaped. Where is he now? He's yelling at his servants, saying, "Why didn't you find him? Go look for him some more." He's making they're his servants. He's like controlling their lives. They think for themselves. They're not just wanting to kill us just to kill us. They're being forced to. They're probably punished if they don't. Alexander probably punishes them if they don't. And they're forced to be stuck here in this castle. They probably, all the missing flesh and stuff, they probably feel that. They probably feel the pain of it. But they can't escape. If they do, they'll probably be more severely punished. And it's horrible. Alexander it's almost like they're being tortured just as bad as those other people are. Except they're not giving no amnesia drink. They're just there. They have to walk, like, they probably can survive forever. They're probably immortal unless they just die. Like, one of them dies by the shadow. Which would probably be better than if I had to be one of the guys, I'd probably choose to be that one. At least they just die instead of being stuck here. But, yeah. So, Alexander treats his servants horribly. He treats them horribly. He's the one who made them that way. He changed the humans to be that way. And he's keeping them alive. If it weren't for Alexander, if he just changed them and didn't do anything, they would probably be dead, okay? So, he's trying. His intention is to get back to his home world, which is fine. That's not the problem. It's the way he's doing that. He's torturing people. He's manipulating people into doing his deeds, like Daniel. He's trapped Agrippa in this body where he can never escape. He's made those servants. He's made them, and they're disfigured. They're in pain, and they have to do what he says, or they might be punished, like, severely. Okay, and it's really bad, and it's really dark. Okay, guys, it's Alexander's just horrible. Yeah, you. Oh, that's creepy. Alexander is just evil, straight evil. So that's going to be my video, guys. I hope y'all liked it, and if you've played Amnesia before, hopefully you get what I'm saying. That it's not just a theory about Alexander, it's also a theory about the Gatherers too, that they're, like, they can still feel, and they're not just undead, they're not just they think for themselves, and they have like they're more human than most enemies in most other games. They're not just like undead. Okay, so that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I might do another one for other characters from games, maybe. Like, I don't know. So, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Peace out, roller coaster gamers. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.